What's up, guys? We're back with Wednesday college basketball action here on December 18th. We're breaking down 12 games on this busy slate. We'll be looking at leans against the spread and the on the over-under here as NCAA basketball season starts to heat up. Also, huge announcement. We've started a second channel called More Stump the Spread where we'll be posting our breakdowns of NBA games or whatever sport doesn't get posted here on the main channel. Head on over to the secondary channel and see what we've got cooking. There will be a link in the description. There will be a video linked at the end of this video. It'll just pop right up there on your screen, so click on that and that'll get you right over to More Stump the Spread. Tuesday didn't exactly go great, guys. We had some wins, we had some losses, finished the day up 3-4 overall. So yeah, a losing day, obviously, but not a massive one. We can handle that. Michigan minus 16.5, that was a nice win. They came through for us, but Dayton won by only a single point. Clemson ended up losing that game in overtime. That was pretty annoying. East Carolina minus 7.5 came through. Winthrop couldn't stay attached there. James Madison also couldn't stay attached. And Villanova, guys, they ended up coming up with another win for us, covering that 8.5. So yeah, 3-4 overall. Now what we're looking for. Let's see if we can bounce back in this one. If you want to win all of your Wednesday bets, hit that like button. It's good luck and helps the video get promoted out there. Obviously, I'd love if you would subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying the content, and if you're really a big-time supporter, you can sign up for a channel membership to get early access to all of my NFL and college football videos, and also get your name up on screen in every video just like right now. I really appreciate everyone watching this, and big shout out to the channel members. All of our videos are sponsored by StumpTheSpread.com. We have a team of professional cappers over there who are putting in the work every single day, covering all the major sports with the NFL, college football, NCAA basketball, NBA, UFC, and the NHL all going on. It is a great time right now to sign up for maximum bang for your buck. Just type Stump the Spread into your search engine of choice, or you can easily just click that link down in the description and it'll get you right over there where you can sign up for our free email list, which will give you updates on our results and also free picks straight to your inbox. Let me know in the comments any bets you're looking at today, and I will give you my best advice on all of them. I personally respond to every single comment every day, and I'm more than happy to get back to you. As always, our favorite picks will be in the pinned comment down below. Now let's get into our first game of the day. We've got Creighton taking on Georgetown. Creighton comes into this game, guys, 7-4 on the season, fresh off of a tough but very competitive loss there against Alabama. Yeah, number 7 Alabama has been killing it lately, and Creighton, they hung right in there with them, guys. I mean, only losing that game by 8 points, not a terrible look for a Creighton team that, has, I'm not going to say yet to hit their stride. Like, they've got some big wins this season already, and we saw them really struggle shooting the ball, which that's something that they do tend to like. They're much more likely to have bad shooting nights when they're playing away from home, and playing this game at Alabama, obviously a very hostile environment. So they did what they could out there. Obviously just not really on the same level here as the Crimson Tide, but not that many teams are on the same level as Alabama this season. Creighton got out-rebounded in this game. In general, just had a bit of a tough time. But yeah, they've been good this season. Obviously that win over Kansas looks very nice. They blew out UNLV. They beat Notre Dame. They played a very close game against then number 20 Texas A&M. Over the course of the season, guys, they are a solid rebounding team. Not too bad on defense. Very high assist numbers. So really, guys, across the board, we've liked what we've seen from Creighton here. They're in a bounce back spot going on, not really on the road here. This is a neutral site game, but they're taking on the Georgetown Hoyas, who are off to an 8-2 start to their season. But when you look back at their schedule, a lot of those wins don't really look that impressive. Their last time out, they did take down Syracuse 75-71. So good stuff there. Got to give them some credit. The game before that, they did lose to West Virginia, but they've done, what they're kind of supposed to do this season. I don't know if I'm really buying into the Georgetown, hype train. I mean, not that big of a hype train, guys. More like a hype caboose, maybe, but they do come into this one playing well. Jaden Epps, fresh off a 27-point game. Not like Syracuse is the toughest opponent, but we got to give them credit where credit is at least slightly due. Georgetown did only shoot 24% from 3 in that game. They, basically held things even there on the boards, and over the course of the season, despite playing a pretty weak schedule, their offensive numbers not looking that hot. Pretty middle of the road there in rebounding numbers. Their assist numbers look a little bit better, but not necessarily a team that I am super high on. So looking at the numbers for this game, we see Georgetown getting 3.5 points here. We've got a total of 146.5. Creighton 4-6-1 against the spread. They are 7-4 to the under. Georgetown 5-5 against the spread, and they are 6-4 to the under themselves. Guys, I think this is a spot we definitely want to take a look at that under 46.5. I think that's very much in play in this game, but I also like Creighton here to bounce back. It's a bit of a letdown spot for Georgetown coming off that win. They have Seton Hall on deck, so not really the toughest opponent out there, but in terms of this Creighton team, they're playing Georgetown. They do have Villanova on deck, but since they're in a bounce back spot, I think we see them get the win and covering this one. They've only got to win by 4. I think they can definitely get the job done. Next on the docket, guys, we've got the Xavier Musketeers. They're going on the road this one to take on number 11 Yukon. Xavier comes in this game fresh off a 68-65 very, very tough loss there against Cincinnati. Yeah, that was a tough one, guys. They tried to get the job done. They really put their all into that game, and eventually it came up just barely short. They've been having a rough time over their last few games, actually losing 3 out of their last 5, but losing in Cincinnati, TCU, and Michigan. I'm not going to say those are like horrendous losses, but yeah, you probably don't want to be losing to TCU, but we'll see what this Xavier team can do down the stretch this season. They've done some good things, wins over Wake Forest, South Carolina, and keeping, things relatively close there, their last time out against Cincinnati. I mean, there's some positives to find for sure. They are about to take on a pretty tough couple of games here, playing against Yukon and then against Marquette, so we'll see how they weather that storm. It's going to be a little bit rough, though, for a team that's, 150-something in the NCAA in rebounding and not looking that amazing on the offensive end either. I mean, Zach Freemantle, 17 points per game on 55% shooting is great, but is that something that can continue to happen against these elite teams? I'm going to have to see it to believe it here as they go on the road to take on Yukon. They're now up to 11th in the nation, back up to 11th. They are fresh off a massive win there over Gonzaga, winning that game 77-71. A huge win. They've won their last 4 in a row, including wins over Baylor, Texas, and Gonzaga. So yeah, love what we're seeing from the Huskies right now. Obviously, I mean, the points per game going through the roof, up to 41st in the nation. The rebounding numbers look fine. The assist numbers look pretty good. Yeah, this is definitely a solid team. In that win against Gonzaga, they, came out, got a 3-point lead in the first half, and never really looked back too much. Very, very good stuff out there. They won this game despite shooting only 20% from three-point range. Definitely a number they can improve. They, kept things even on the boards there. Saw a big game there from Liam McNeely. Very good stuff from him. 7 of 13 from the field, 10 of 12 from the free throw line. They did get quite a few calls in this game, but yeah, I've got to give them a lot of credit. That was a very good game there from Yukon. So looking at the numbers for this game, we see the Huskies are minus 13.5. We've got a total of 147.5. Xavier 5-6 against the spread. They're 9-2 to the under. Yukon 6-4-1 against the spread. They are 5-5-1 to the over/under. Guys, I think this is a perfect spot to catch Yukon here in a bit of a letdown, but I am worried about Xavier being in a bit of a look ahead spot and maybe a little bit disappointed with what happened there against Cincinnati. So I don't know that this one's going to end up in the pinned comment, but I do think this is a spot you want to be on the underdog. Give me Xavier here plus 13.5 points. I don't think they're going to win this game, but I do think they can keep it pretty close. Moving right along here, guys, we are looking at number 21, Memphis, going on the road in this game to take on Virginia. Memphis comes in this game fresh off an 87-82 win there over Clemson. So very, very good stuff in that one, guys. Hats off there to Memphis getting the overtime win there over a ranked opponent. They've been playing really, really good basketball this season in general. Definitely a team that's had something to prove, and we saw Hunter and Rogers both score over 22 points in this game. Very good stuff there, and Memphis absolutely shot the lights out, making 48% of their threes, 12 of 25 there from deep. So very, very good stuff from Memphis. They've played a pretty tough schedule. I mean, wins over Clemson, a loss against Arkansas State, so a nice bounce back there. A tough loss against Auburn, but beating Michigan State, beating Yukon, definitely a team to watch here. PJ Haggerty putting up great numbers, almost 22 points per game, shooting 47% from the field. They're in the top 70 there in points per game. This is not any kind of a slouch of a Memphis Tigers team. They definitely deserve that number 21 ranking. We'll see what they can do on the road in this game, taking on the Virginia Cavaliers, who are fresh off of a 59-41 win there over Bethune. Yeah. Not going to be too excited about that. They've played some decent games this season, I suppose, but they're kind of hard to find, to be honest, guys. I mean, they did beat Villanova, but that was when Villanova was playing terrible, and a lot of teams have beaten Villanova. They did, get blown out by Tennessee, blown out by St. John's, blown out by Florida, lost pretty convincing there against SMU. So yeah, what are we going to see from Virginia this season? It's kind of hard to tell. They did have a lot of turmoil there in the offseason. They're around 400th in the nation in offensive production, so not a lot of positives for me to find right now about their Virginia team. They have to be pretty happy to be playing at home. At least they've got that, but not a ton of good things to say about the Cavaliers, who are getting 5.5 points in this game. We've got a total here of 130.5. Memphis 7-3 against the spread. They are also 7-3 to the under. UVA, they are 3-7 against the spread. They are 6-4 to the under. So yeah, a little bit of a tough spot here. Definitely not a look ahead spot for Virginia, and I guess Memphis could maybe be in a look ahead spot with Mississippi State on deck. But guys, I think this is definitely a spot we are just going to take Memphis here to win this game by 6 points. Seems like a very small ask. I know Virginia is trying to play their typical brand of stifling defense, but I just don't really think they have that in the tank anymore. So go ahead and give me Memphis here to get the win and cover on the road. Next up, guys, we got some MVC action. We've got Murray State going on the road in this one to take on Indiana State. The Racers come into this game 6-3 on the season, fresh off a tough loss there against Western Kentucky. They did keep things relatively competitive, eventually losing that game by 5 points in overtime. So, yeah, a pretty interesting game there from the Racers. They've had their ups and downs this season. Beating UT Arlington looks nice. Losing to Utah Valley, maybe not so good. They didn't stay attached there against Pitt. So, yeah, they've had their wins. They've had their losses. Time to get, down to business here in the MVC. They are 1-0 in Missouri Valley Conference play. So, a good start there, but with a 2-point win over Evansville. We'll see if they can keep things going here. I mean, over the course of the season so far, we've seen Jacoby Wood put up 15 points and almost 6 assists per game. That's very impressive. Their defensive numbers haven't been insane compared to what we're used to seeing, in the Missouri Valley Conference, but this team is trying to play at a little bit of an up pace. They're, scoring around 80 points per game, which is very, very respectable, but those assist numbers, those rebounding numbers, not really like, what you would want to see. So we'll see if they can get a little bit of a boost going here, taking on the Indiana State Sycamores, who have won 3 in a row. They come into this game fresh off of an 80-77 win in their Missouri Valley Conference opener. They went on the road to Missouri State and got the win in what can be, a little bit of a tough environment. We see, Samaj Teal playing amazing, 17 points, 4 assists per game, 5 assists per game. As a team, we see the Sycamores putting up nearly 83 points per game. Those rebounding numbers are nice. Defensive numbers could use some work for sure, but this is a team that wants to play up pace, and they are getting after it, guys. I'm not going to say they've had a lot of marquee wins. They played a very close game against Arkansas State, so that's something. Knocked off Tarleton State, Iona. This is a team that's, traveled around a little bit, got some games, and they did get blown out by FAU, so we'll see what they can do in this one. Playing at home, they are getting 2.5 points. We got a total in this one of 155.5. Murray State 3-4-1 against the spread. They are 4-3-1 to the under. Indiana State 5-4 against the spread this season. They are 8-1 to the over. So yeah, might want to take a look at the over in this game. Both teams, tend to get up tempo a little bit. So you could talk me into over 155.5. But my real lean in this game, and it seems like a very good one, I like Indiana State here getting 2.5 points. Playing at home, you're a great offense. You're likely to shoot even better on your home rims. I like them in this spot against a Murray State team. We don't really know how the Racers are going to travel, so go ahead and give me Indiana State here playing at home. Next up, guys, we're looking at the Davidson Wildcats. They're going on the road in this one to take on the Temple Owls. Davidson 8-2 here in the early goings this season, fresh off a blowout win there over Detroit Mercy. Obviously not the toughest opponent, but we have seen them do some good things this season, knocking off Charleston Southern. Not a bad win there. They couldn't keep things close against Gonzaga or Arizona, but they did win against Providence by 11 points. So a nice upset win there for Davidson coming out of the A-10 to knock off a power conference opponent. So we'll see what they can do in this game, guys. I mean, Reed Bailey averaging 18.2 points per game while shooting over 50% from the field and also dishing out 3.5 assists. Very, very good numbers there. This is a great assist team just in general. The rebounding numbers, the assist numbers looking very, very good, but those rebounding and defensive numbers not really jumping off the page in a good way. So we'll see what Davidson can do on the road in this game, taking on Temple, who's 6-4 on the season. They've played some tough opponents. They haven't had a great time in those step-up games necessarily. They did keep things close against Boston College. They lost by 9 against Florida State. They did beat UMass, but then got knocked off by LaSalle, got blown out by Villanova. They've won their last 2 in a row, but taking down Holy Family and Hofstra, not exactly going to get me all jazzed up. So we'll see what they've got, cooking in this one. Jamal Mashburn Jr., a monster, 21 points per game, only 2 assists per game, but he's shooting, a pretty solid 45% from the field. This team, okay on the boards, very bad defensively, but decent offensively. We'll see. Not a squad that I'm necessarily super duper hyped about. And looking at the numbers for this game, we see they are 2.5 point favorites here playing at home. We've got a total of 148.5. Davidson 5-4 against the spread. They are 6-3 to the over. Temple 3-6 against the spread and 5-4 to the over. First up, guys, I think this is a great spot to get Davidson and some points here playing on the road. Maybe not my favorite spot on this game, though, because I definitely think we want to be taking a look at over 148.5 in this one. We've got both teams showing some trends towards the over in this spot. I think we'll see a good amount of offense. Neither one of these squads can really play much defense, so definitely give me Davidson and also give me a good hard look at that over. Next up, guys, we're looking at Toledo. They're going on the road in this one to take on number 15 Houston. Toledo, they're 6-4 on the season. They haven't played a MAC game yet. We'll see what they can do in conference play. They are coming off of a loss against Youngstown State, losing that one 93-87. So a close, very high-scoring game. It's been a bit of a struggle. They lost to Oakland, lost to UC San Diego in a blowout. They did beat Stetson, beating Detroit Mercy, beating Marshall, but losing against Troy to start their season didn't really get things off to the best start. Sonny Wilson, 16.5 points per game, not bad, 3.5 assists to go with that, and he's shooting nearly 56% from the field, so they've got some pieces on this team, don't get me wrong. Their offensive numbers are very impressive, 81.2 points per game. Their rebounding numbers, though, are very, very bad. Defensive numbers also very, very lacking, so we'll see what they can do to try and stack up against one of the best teams in the nation as they go on the road to take on the Houston Cougars, who come into this game fresh off a 20-point win against Troy. They also dismantled Butler. These are, kind of games that are bounce backs in response to losing there against San Diego State. They also lost against Alabama. They lost against Auburn. So Houston, not exactly a team that's had a great time in their tougher games this season, but generally speaking, they've taken care of business there against their weaker opponents. So we'll see if that'll be the case in this game. Obviously, a squad that can play some very, very good defense. The offensive numbers are more than acceptable. Their rebounding numbers have them in the top 90 in the nation. Just a lot of positives here for Houston. We like what we're seeing from LJ Cryer, 16 points per game, but are they really going to be in the mood to, open up a full-on blowout here? Because they're going to have to cover this massive number of 29.5. We've got a total here of 142.5. Toledo, 4-5 against the spread, 6-3 to the over. Houston, 4-5 against the spread, and 5-4 to the under. Guys, this is going to be a pretty small lean, but I think we want to be on Toledo and the points. I don't think we see Houston really get after it that aggressively in this game. It's no sort of look-ahead spot. I mean, they've got Texas A&M CC on deck, so yeah, they're not going to be too worried about that. It is a bit of a look-ahead spot for Toledo, I guess. I mean, they're going to get blown out twice in a row playing against Houston and Purdue, so I don't think it's going to be that egregious of a blowout, though. Go ahead and give me Toledo. I think the Rockets keep this one at least slightly competitive. Next up, guys, we've got one of the marquee games of the night, or at least it's a very, very good one. We've got Butler going on the road to take on number 9 Marquette in a Big East showdown. The Bulldogs come into this game 7-4 on the season, but they are on a 3-game losing streak, getting blown out there by Houston, losing against North Dakota State by 3 points, and then following that up with an 83-74 loss against Wisconsin. So yeah, things not really looking amazing here for the Butler Bulldogs as of late. I mean, Jamil Telford is having a good season, 16.2 points per game for him, but this offense not really going too nuts, especially outside of him. They're only averaging 73.3 points per game. That is 243rd in the nation. Their defensive numbers not too much better. Ball movement pretty poor. Rebounding numbers maybe okay, but definitely not great. Against Wisconsin the last time out, guys, losing that game by 9 points? Yeah, 9 points, and just not an amazing game. I mean, they did keep things even on the boards, I suppose, but despite shooting more free throws, they couldn't keep the game super close. They shot 32% from 3. How much better are they really going to shoot from 3? So not super hyped up about what we're seeing from Butler here, and they've got a real test on their hands going on the road to take on number 9 Marquette. The Golden Eagles are fresh off a loss of their own. They lost 71-63 against a very, very good Dayton team. Marquette actually got a 12-point? No, more than that. 6 plus 8 is 14-point win there against the Wisconsin Badgers. So a nice win there. They did lose against Iowa State, but they've got big wins on here, taking down Purdue. So yeah, we've seen good stuff from Marquette this season, no doubt about it. Cam Jones putting up 20 points per game and 6.5 assists while shooting nearly 60% from the field. That is elite stuff. This is one of the scariest offensive teams in the nation right now, averaging 81.5 points per game. The defensive numbers are also pretty good, and they've blown out some, fairly decent opponents, like that big win against Wisconsin and a very, very nice win against Purdue. So loving what we're seeing from Marquette in this one, and looking at the numbers for this game, we see they're big favorites. They're 13.5-point favorites playing at home. We've got a total of 149.5. Butler 5-6 against the spread, 7-4 to the under. Marquette 7-3 against the spread, and 6-5 to the under. So first up, guys, I think this is a very reasonable spot to look at under 149.5. I don't think we'll see a crazy amount of offense in this game, at least not from Butler. I do think Marquette is probably going to win this game walking away, so you could talk me into Marquette minus 13.5, but I think honestly, given the trends that we're seeing for this game, the under might be the better play. Next on the docket, we have the true marquee game of the night. We've got number 14 Oklahoma going on the road to take on number 24 Michigan. The Oklahoma Sooners come into this game still undefeated on the season, a perfect 10-0 to start their year. They're fresh off of an 80-65 win there against Oklahoma State, so a rivalry game win there. They've also taken down Arizona and Louisville this season. They beat Georgia Tech comfortably, so they haven't maybe played the toughest schedule, but they've got some nice wins mixed in there. Definitely Oklahoma, a team that is deserving of some respect in this, the season, at least so far. And the odds makers and, the AP poll definitely giving them some respect. Jalen Moore, 17.5 points per game. Yeah, very good stuff, on their season-long numbers. Maybe the rebounding numbers aren't amazing, but offense looking very, very good. The assist numbers are there. Their defensive numbers are looking very, very good as well. So we'll see what they can do here. They are playing on a neutral floor, so not at home for this game, playing this one in Charlotte, North Carolina against the Michigan Wolverines, who are 8-2 on the season. They're coming off a tough loss, an 89-87 loss there against Arkansas. Quite a game in that one. A letdown loss a little bit for Michigan. They had beaten Xavier, Wisconsin, and Iowa coming into that game. They've also beaten TCU and Virginia Tech this season. Not a team to be trifled with. They're already 2-0 there in Big Ten play. So we'll see what they can do in this one, taking on Oklahoma. Definitely not an easy opponent. The Wolverines have, had a pretty decent time this year. Their offensive numbers looking great, averaging more than 80 points per game. Their assist numbers are fantastic. Their defensive numbers are also very, very good. This is a scary, scary Michigan team, even playing here in a neutral environment on a neutral floor. So looking at the numbers, we see the Wolverines are getting 2.5 points in this one. We've got a total of 151.5. Both teams are 6-4 against the spread. Michigan, a very small trend there towards the under, but I'm not too interested in under 151.5. I would probably lean towards the over, to be honest. I think we'll see plenty of offense in this game. Two very, very good offensive teams. I don't think that's going to lead to, very low scoring at all. So go ahead and give me the over in this one for sure. I think it's some excellent value. If you're dying for a side in this game, I would lean a little bit here towards Michigan and the points. They played a little bit tougher of a schedule. I think they might be a little bit more at home in this game. It's a little bit tough to say. Neither team is in any sort of look-ahead spot. So, yeah, slight lead towards Michigan, but a big lean towards over 151.5. Next up, guys, we're looking at the Sanford Bulldogs. They're going on the road in this one to take on the Arizona Wildcats. Sanford actually has had a pretty quiet but very, very nice start to their season. They did lose against Cornell by 2 points very early on. They also lost against Michigan State in a competitive game, but other than that, they've just been knocking off win after win. Have they been playing a tough schedule? No. Those two games that I mentioned were probably their two toughest opponents. Definitely Michigan State's been the hardest team they've faced, but like I said, guys, they kept things very competitive in that game, so looks like maybe good things are cooking there for Sanford. They could be in for a nice season out there in the Southern. Jaden Brownell, a very nice start to his year. Rylan Jones putting up 6.1 assists per game. This is actually, obviously this is taking a lot of cupcake games and bad opponents into account, but still Sanford putting up 90.5 points per game. Very reasonable stuff there. 10th in the nation in assist numbers. The defensive numbers not looking amazing, but they're looking okay, especially given what they've done in general this season. So feeling very nice about what we're seeing from Sanford here. They go on the road in a step-up spot for sure to take on Arizona. This is not going to be some walk in the park. This game is being played, at home there for Arizona, and they've not been having a good time. They're fresh off a 57-54 very low-scoring loss against number 24 UCLA. They've also lost to West Virginia, Oklahoma, Duke, and Wisconsin this season. So, yeah, the schedule hasn't been doing the Wildcats any favors, but they have not been rising to the occasion. Their leading scorer, Caleb Love, only scoring 13.3 points per game. Their offensive numbers are good. Their rebounding numbers are good. All that's great. You guys can't win a freaking game. And a lot of those numbers are coming from scoring, 100 points against Old Dominion. Bro, you guys gave up 103 points against Wisconsin. That is not a great look. They did beat Davidson 104-71. They can score, but my God, can they play any defense and can they step up against any good opponents? They really got put through the meat grinder there by UCLA. So we'll see if this is a true bounce back spot for them. The odds makers are giving them tons of respect here. They're getting 19.5 points. We've got a total here of 168.5. Sanford actually 5-4 against the spread this season. They are 6-3 to the over. Arizona 3-6 against the spread and 6-3 to the over. So right off the bat there, guys, maybe this is just a system play where we have to take over 168.5. Would not blame anyone for taking that at all, but I think this is a spot we definitely want to be on Sanford here, plus nearly 20 points. I know they're playing on the road. That's definitely tougher, but Arizona, guys, they've had a hard time, albeit against the tough teams. I think they could have a hard time in this one against, maybe not the toughest opponent, or at least not supposed to be. Sanford's played really well. They played really well against Michigan State. I think they can at least keep this thing within 20, and that's all we need to cash this bet. Next on the docket, guys, we got another very interesting game. We've got the VCU Rams. They're going on the road in this one to take on the New Mexico Lobos. A very interesting matchup between two teams, non-power conference teams looking to make a name for themselves. VCU playing really well this season. Their only loss was against Nevada, and that was by 3 points. A very, very close game there. They've taken down Miami. They beat Penn. They beat Colorado State their last time out. They put some decent wins up, and we really liked what we saw from them against Colorado State in that 76-68 win. Good stuff there. Bamselli, a very good game from him, 17.2 points per game. Max Shugla also playing great for VCU. They're a good rebounding team. They're a good offensive team, and that defense is truly stifling. So, yeah, not a lot of notes here. I'm expecting VCU to have a good time out there in the A10 this season. We'll see if they can add a nice non-conference win to their resume as they go on the road to take on the New Mexico Lobos, who are fresh off a blowout win over Western New Mexico. That's not a real opponent. They need a bounce back after losing against New Mexico State. That's not a great look. They lost against Arizona State earlier this season, and in a step-up game, they lost against St. John's. They did, beat then number 22 and still ranked UCLA, so that's something positive. But yeah, we're a little bit worried about the Lobos here. It hasn't exactly been, smooth sailing, but they are playing at home in this game. That is a big, big strength for New Mexico. We see Donovan Dent putting up 17, almost 18 points per game and nearly 8 assists. This dude is out there absolutely hooping. They are 8th in the country, scoring 87.8 points per game. Their rebounding numbers are excellent. Their assist numbers are fantastic, and their defensive numbers, they're good enough. I'm not going to say they're elite, but they are definitely good enough. So looking at the numbers for this game, I'm not shocked to see New Mexico favor here playing at home. They're 2.5-point favorites. We've got a total of 153.5. VCU is 6-4 against the spread. They're 5-5 to the over/under. New Mexico, they're 4-6 against the spread. They are 7-3 to the over. In this spot, I would maybe shade slightly towards the over for this game. I mean, it's a pretty low total, 153.5, but I really think the value in this game is going to be on New Mexico to get the job done here at home. They got to win this game by 3. VCU is absolutely no walk in the park, but I love Donovan Dent to have a big game in this one, and I think they take care of business here on their home floor. Rounding into the home stretch, guys, we're looking at the Kennesaw State Owls. They're going on the road in this one to take on Santa Clara. Kennesaw State, they come into this one, guys, 7-3 on the season, fresh off a win there against Georgia State. It was a pretty close 4-point game, though. It was a nice bounce back for Kennesaw State after losing against Kent State. Yeah, they've been a little bit all over the place. They did have that crazy 79-77 win over Rutgers, so definitely a team with plenty of talent. I think they could make some noise out there in the CUSA, but I don't know, guys. I mean, Simeon Cottle, 17 points per game, but he's only shooting 38% from the field. This is a team that's, pretty much offense first and all the time and very little defense. The rebounding numbers are very good, but some of that, a good chunk of that, to be honest, is a function of their pace of play. They are putting up 80.3 points per game, so, very good stuff there. They did need overtime to win that game against Townsend. I'm not going to say I'm fully convinced here of Kennesaw State, but I'm liking the direction this program is headed. We'll see what they can do against Santa Clara. The Broncos come into this game winners of the last 3 in a row, knocking off McNeese, a very nice win. They also beat TCU this season. They played a very competitive game against Sanford, eventually losing by 2, but still keeping things very close. They beat St. Louis to start the season. They kept things close against Arizona State. This has been a very, very solid Santa Clara team. They come into this one winners of 3 in a row, like I said, beating McNeese, Fresno State, and Bradley. So, like what we're seeing, very much a squad that plays team ball. Elijah Mahi, 13.2 points per game, not necessarily a crazy, leading scorer. They really, it's kind of offense by committee. Any night could be anybody's night. Their rebounding numbers are excellent. The defensive numbers are concerning, don't get me wrong, but I like, in general, what I'm seeing from Santa Clara. Looking at the numbers for this game, we see they're 14-point favorites here, though. We've got a total of 158.5. Kennesaw State actually 6-2 against the spread. They're 5-3 to the under. Santa Clara 5-6 against the spread. They are 7-4 to the under themselves. So It feels very, very odd here, especially with the total that we're looking at to take the under in this game, but I might shade here slightly towards the under just based on those trends. But really, guys, my favorite play in this one is Kennesaw State plus 2 touchdowns. I mean, 14 points is a lot, even in a college basketball game. I think they can keep this thing to single digits possibly. And yeah, I mean, they've shown the ability to knock off a then top 25 team. So yeah, give me Kennesaw State here playing on the road. I know playing on the road could be tough, but I think they've got what it takes to make this game competitive. Last but not least, guys, we've got the battle between 2 Washington teams. We got Washington State going on the road here to take on Washington. Obviously, you know, both teams being in-state, going to be a very interesting, very high-energy game. The Washington State Cougars come into this one 9-2 on the season. They're fresh off a win against Missouri State, a pretty comfortable one. They also beat Boise State and Nevada, so a little 3-game winning streak here. They did lose but in kind of a blowout against SMU. They also lost against Iowa, but they kept that game to 10 points, so nothing too crazy. I will say Washington State hasn't necessarily played the toughest schedule this season. I mean, Nate Kalmese, not having a bad time. 15 points, 4.5 assists per game. Very good stuff. The rebounding numbers look okay. The defensive numbers look pretty bad. The offensive numbers are where it's at here for Washington State. So we'll see what they can do here against their in-state rival, the Washington Huskies, who are 7-3 to start the season. They come into this game fresh off an 87-69 win over there against Eastern Washington. But before that, they got blown out by USC. They played a kind of close, but not that close game against UCLA. They did beat Santa Clara. They beat Colorado State, but not a team with any real statement wins on the docket this season. So we'll see what they can do in this one. We haven't necessarily loved what we've seen from Great Osobor so far this season, shooting only 40% from the field. Like, that's not what he was supposed to be doing there as they brought him over in the transfer portal. Yeah, the offense for this team's been pretty bad. The defensive numbers aren't great, and the rebounding has been pedestrian. So looking at the numbers for this game, it's a 2.5-point spread there in favor of Washington. We've got an over-under of 148.5. Washington State, they are 7-4 against the spread. They are 6-5 to the under. Washington, 4-5 against the spread and 6-3 to the under. So you can take the under in this game if you think it's going to be something of a rock fight, but I'm not too interested in that underplay. I'm much more interested in taking the Washington State Cougars here, getting 2.5 points. I know they're playing kind of on the road, but not going to be a huge travel spot for them. Obviously, I think they managed to win this game straight up, or at least keep it very, very close. I think they're the better team so far through this point in the season. Will that be the way things end? Maybe not, but I do think this is a spot you want to be on Washington State. That's all the games we have for today, guys. Hit that like button for good luck on all of your bets and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Also, there's a video link that's going to pop up on the screen right now, or there's a link down there in the description. Head over to the new channel, subscribe over there, and be ready for new content coming very soon over there. Also, you want to check out stumpthespread.com to get on our free email list and check out everything we offer over there. I will see you guys tomorrow for more sports betting action.